Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Abe back again. News and views used on the news, another message to preach and teach. And we're going to get this one kicking off because it's been an ongoing, contentious thing with me hearing brothers refer to the Caucasian man, and we'll say Caucasian here in this case, but you know him as the white man, as Esau. And this is simply not true. I am the Reluctant Nabi again, back again, and I am going to show you why it's not true. And I want you brothers to start to think critically. Y'all need to start thinking critically. Alright, a lot of the BS that you hear about Esau and all of this and who's an Israelite are coming from out of these camps that are just bamboozling the multitudes. They're no better than the Christian church. Alright? And I just want to make that clear. They're full of nothing but misinformation. Why? Because they want to control just like the pastors control. They're making a mint off of black people like the pastors made a mint off of black people. Only when you wake up and realize that you are indigenous, right? That you are indigenous, that you will realize that you've been tricked and you could come back to some kind of self-respect for self. We're not black people. We're indigenous, aboriginal. As a matter of fact, the white people aren't Americans. They're colonizers. They came over here, took stuff from other people from somewhere else because they were destroying their places. And most of which went and left were criminals and hustlers and all the rest of that stuff. The spread of religion was a means to control a people. And now we got black people following into the same footsteps as the Caucasian men. Notice I called them black people because they refer to themselves as black people, not indigenous, aboriginal. Why? Because their job is to keep us asleep through religion, the way everybody else's job who brought about this other form of Christianity taught us to be asleep. All right, so let me break everything down to you, but before I start, let me greet everybody. Habord and Hardu Gudag, Ola Oi to the Bane, Bosses Los, Bronze Mezami, Kedu Bawani Kunichiwa, Ni Hao Ni Ama, Sani Bonani, Jumbo Habarigani, Assalamu alaikum and Shalom. Alright, now let me remind you of something else. Let's get them thumbs up, alright, to donate. My PayPal me link will be in the description box. I am taking down the no GoFundMe. Alright, it's just too difficult. And in its place, if you really want to help me to do what I do in the community, just send your donations to my PayPal me link. It'll be in the description box. We're just going to raise all the money that we want to do stuff, or that an idea that I have. If you're going to support me, this is how you support me and this channel. Alright? Don't forget to subscribe. When you subscribe, click the bell. If that bell give you a drop down box, click all. Alright? Let's get them thumbs up and let's share these videos also. And you know this is important. Come on, brothers. Y'all got to get on your game and share this video. Alright? So let's break it down. Let's start to break this down. Alright, here we go with the breakdown. And this is there. Alright, when we talk about a lot of this stuff, the black woman Better be listening to this one. Y'all need to share this with her. Because who Esau is different from who white people are. But as we start to understand who white people are, all right, we talked about the DNA Neanderthal gene, right? We're really going to break it down on a kind of quick, simplified level. All right, if we go into Genesis, all right, the reason why Esau is getting such a bad name is, like I said, the Hebrew Israelites is running around in the streets preaching misinformation. They got some truth, but they got a whole bunch of lies mixed up within that truth. So we can't take them at nothing because they're not coming to you trying to tell you the whole truth. They're up there trying to spread a narrative like a club, like the same thing like the Greek organizations, the Black Greek organizations in college. Their job is to get the people that's going to college to get some wisdom and knowledge to make sure they stay within the confines of the system through that Greek pledge system, which is wickedness and demonology at its best. Most of them women, let's say near all of them women that's a part of them organizations have been run through by the men of the organization. How do you know? Women that's coming out trying to turn their life around, that's telling the truth, saying that yes, they were 304s for the Greek groups. It's the pull. And then most of them Greeks become other secret organizations. Like the Masons or the Eastern Stars. It's all misinformation. So what's the truth about this so-called white man and Esau? I'm going to break this down because I was having a conversation with a brother. And you go check his channel out, MGTOW Checkmate, right? And some other brothers that was using the term Esau for the Caucasian men. The more appropriate term for the white man is to call him Caucasian from the Caucasus Mountains. All right. Well, one would say that, well, Esau was the person that is the white man because of the mountains. You got mountains in Europe and you got mountains in Africa. There are two different mountains and two different groups of people live within each. All right. So who are these white people? And in order to understand that, you got to understand also, well, who is Esau? Why did the Most High have a problem with Esau? All right, so we're going to break it down with Genesis, Obadiah, and Malachi. All right, dealing with the first problem that the Most High had with Esau. And the first thing y'all need to remember is that Esau and Jacob were twins. That means they had the same DNA. The white people don't have black people's DNA. We'll get to that in a minute. The white people don't have black people's DNA. They're from the Caucasus Mountains, hence Caucasians. All right, black people aren't really black people. We have a nation, a bunch of nations that hail in Africa and the United States before the white people got here. Tens of thousands of years before the white people got here. So we're aboriginal to the land. All right. All the stuff saying who the Native Americans are, that they were Mongolian, that's trickster. Why? Because they understand that the Afro Americans, who were descended from the continent of Africa, was over here tens of thousand years before the Mongolians, who we know as the red men, tens of thousands of years. That's what they tried to rip through us when they misinformed us as to us being black, Negro, everything, African, American. No, We are the true Americans. Then comes the Mongolian, and then the white people are just colonizers who came over here and took over our land, and then mistaught our children, separated our children and women, got the women to misteach the children. Ah, but all this stuff is coming out in the wash. Okay, so why was the Most High mad at Esau? What happened to Esau? Such as this curse, right? Let's break this down first. And Jacob cooked the stew, and Esau came in from the field. He was weary. All right, so he was tired, right? And Esau said to Jacob, please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. And this is why his name was called Edom, right? But Jacob said, sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, look, I'm going to die, so why would I have birthright? Then Jacob said, swear to me today. And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau the bread and stew of lentils. And he ate and drank and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. This is the first thing the Most High had against Esau. All right? But this isn't the only thing. So this is how Esau lost his birthright. He out and outright sold it for some stew. All right? Now, to break it down, Esau and Jacob had the same mother and father, Isaac and Rebekah. All right? So let's make this clear. Now, you have Ruddy, red hair on his hands. Okay. Then you would have Esau, his appearance, red beard and stuff like that. We'll deal a little more with this as we move on. Now, yeah, and you see it here. Deuteronomy 2 and 4. And command the people, saying, ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you their land. No, not so much as a foot breadth, because I have given Mount Seir to Esau for a possession. Wait a minute. So the Most High is saying, Jacob, you and your people have taken enough. I don't want you to meddle with them. You can't take no part of their land, for I gave that to them. Now understand this, and I want you to understand this clearly. Y'all have to understand the phrase at the end, right? And we'll get to that, and I'll explain this. The Most High at this point had not an ought against Esau. He blessed Esau with that land. Why? Because Esau and Jacob are twins. Esau is not where Caucasians come from. Caucasians come from the Caucasus Mountain. Well, let's break that down. With DNA, unless you are of purely African descent, you probably have some Neanderthal DNA. That means the darker you are, the less likely you have Neanderthal DNA. Meaning that you light-skinned brothers, sorry, but the Caucasian man that went down the line and stuff like that. Those now there are some Caucasians. Well, no, there are some Caucasian appearing men that do not have the Neanderthal DNA. Okay? The Orientals and the Caucasians have the Neanderthal DNA. All right? And so they give some of the symptoms. I have less black hair than most people. It seems I can thank my Neanderthals and Neanderthal ancestors for that. All right. So the more blonde, white, and quote unquote good hair you have, the more you came from the Neanderthal. All right. People of European and Asian Australian origin all have at least some Neanderthal DNA, but not people of purely African descent. And that's because Neanderthals arose in Europe after pre-humans left the African continent and apparently never made their way back south. Okay, so let's try to figure out what happened here. The women. The women. I'll get to that in a minute. The black woman. That's what happened here. I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so Neanderthals arose in Europe after the pre-humans left the African continent. So the Neanderthals are from Europe, not from Africa at all. Esau had no part of Neanderthal DNA. White people have Neanderthal DNA. So ergo, Esau cannot give to a group of people something he don't have. So if people, African, do not have Neanderthal DNA, and Esau is of Africa, the continent, then the Caucasian people, the white people, cannot be related to Esau because they do not have his DNA. They have Neanderthal DNA. He has none. They're a different stock. So who made their way to Europe? Maybe a band of men with a bunch of women, and maybe the men got killed off, but the Neanderthal figured they could mate with the black women. Period. All right? Because in order for Caucasians to have a dominant gene, it had to be them mating with the black women and not the black men, or them mating with the African women and not the African men mating with the Neanderthal women. All right? So this is where you get this crisscross. In nature study, and I will have the web addresses in so that y'all can read up on this in the description box. In the nature study, Cerium, Sankaraman, and David Wright of Harvard Medical School used previously sequenced Neanderthal genome to screen 1,004 modern genomes for sequencing with distinctive Neanderthal features. Neanderthal influence on skin, hair, and common disease. And this is why a lot of white people have a particular rheumatoid arthritis and stuff like that. Despite their difference, they're more susceptible to it because they have the gene that came from the Neanderthal. Despite their different approaches, both of them converged on similar results. They both found the genes that is involved in making keratin, the protein found in our skin, hair, and nails. They are especially rich in Neanderthal DNA. All right, it gives the example, right? Now y'all know that the people of Ha-Adam or Adam, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and others, the Hebrew, we're E1B1A. Other Africans are E1B1B. The Neanderthal version is BNC2. All right. East Asians are POU2F3. All right, which affects skin color among other traits found in 70% of Europeans. Hence, this is where the white skin color comes from. Or this is why they have white skin. They have no melanin. They're melanin recessive. To be white, you are double recessive. All right, now, so we go into Obadiah. Now that we're getting more of an understanding, Esau was not cursed with white skin because of this, that, and the other. All right. The Most High did not hate Esau because he had white skin. This breaks everything down. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And why is this? If you really look into the story of Esau and Jacob, they apparently made peace. But then Esau decided, well, he didn't want peace. He was still hot over the stew thing, which he did. Now, Jacob, because of his mother, so Rebecca had a lot to do with this, giving the blessings of the firstborn to Jacob instead of Esau. And Esau still felt some kind of way about that. And that was just evil and wrong on so many levels. So Jacob got the birthright, but Esau missed out on the blessings because of trickery. Jacob went to Esau and they buried the hatchet on that. Right? But then Esau really didn't bury the hatchet. He wanted to bury another kind of hatchet in Jacob's head. And so the Most High got upset with Esau over the violence he kept doing against his brother and his brother's people. Obadiah 1:11. In that day thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that that the strangers carried away captives his forces, and the foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was one of them. In other words, what he did, sort of like the black woman is selling out the good men to the white system, he did that to his brother Jacob. Understand? So that's to here. To Jacob, the Most High said this: I have loved you, said Yahweh. But you ask, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Declare Yahweh, and I love Jacob. Right? But I have hated Esau and have laid waste to his mountains and his inheritance for the jackals of the wilderness. Why? One, he despised his birthright. And then two, he committed violence against Jacob using the people of the other lands also. This is why I said the black women need to heed this. Because the same way Jacob was being attacked by Esau, even after they made peace, Esau used people of other lands to infiltrate the land that the Most High gave him. In other words, so he again despised his inheritance by allowing other people to come over there to attack his brother and take them into captivity. All right, this is why the Most High said, Jacob have I loved, and Esau have. Jacob, I love you, but Esau I hated. Esau kept committing evil against his brother. The black woman keeps committing evil against the Afro man, the good one. And she's committing it against all of them. But she's especially keen on targeting the good ones. And the Most High is going to lay her to waste the same way he laid Esau to waste. If Edom is called Edom because he gave away his birthright for some stew. If Edom said, "We have beaten down, let us return and build the ruins," Yahweh of hosts said thus: "Let them build, I will tear it, but I tear down. Let them build, but I tear down. And they shall be called border of wrongness, and the people against whom Yahweh enraged forever." Why? Because he stayed enraged against his brother for just permanently. He couldn't let bygones be bygones, even in the midst of the Most High blessing him and telling Jacob, "You cannot touch the land that I gave to Esau." And Esau was really blessed, but he just couldn't get over the deception that was created by his mom, and he should have. And so he went hog wild on his brother and tried to destroy his brother out even from even existing. And the Most High wasn't having that and kindled hatred against Esau. It doesn't make him white. It makes him wrong. So back to this. One of the Neanderthal marker will tell you things like your propensity to become addicted to smoking if you start, said Breanna Prominent of the Smithsonian Institute Human Origins Program. One that is more important affects blood. There's a genetic variant that leads to a high propensity for blood clotting. All these black women getting all these clots in their legs. Think about all of this. How many black women do we know because all this mixing? Think about this. And brothers and sisters, I leave you with this. All right. Black Brazilian mother with her 5 children, 3 of which are albino, and the father is also black. All right. Scientifically, the black woman is the only organism that possesses the mitochondrial DNA that has all variants possible for every kind of human being on Earth. The African, the albino, the European, the Middle Eastern. When DNA of black women mutates, all other types of human beings come about. This is called the Eve gene. It's only found in black women. And you know why? Remember I said about how did the white people multiply and become upon and the Neanderthal get human? The black woman. The black woman let everything and its grandmother run all up in her. All right. Remember, she like white men. She like anything, any kind of man except for her own. All right. Something different comes, she'll let it get run all up in her and spread its seed in her. The reason why the black woman has the seed of everybody, because she let everybody's seed in her. Now understand this. Women can't get rid of the DNA of the seed once it's up in her. Even if it dies, the DNA and RNA still stays in her. Understand this. And that's why we must let them hit that wall. They've never been faithful to the human race, much less us as Afro men. All right? These women like anything evil and different. Period. And I hope this sheds light on the whole lot. And we'll be talking about this issue much more. With that said, I'm out.